Heavy rain crashed against the tiny riverside village as Kofi ran through muddy streets holding a broken lantern. Lightning flashed across the sky while villagers hurried indoors. Kofi stopped outside Ekon's old fishing hut. "Please," Kofi shouted through the storm. "My mother is sick. I need your boat to cross the river." Ekon slowly opened the door, his tired eyes cold. No one crosses that river at night. A loud thunderclap shook the village, and then the lantern in Kofi's hand suddenly flickered blue. The blue flame glowed brighter as Amara arrived, soaked from the rain. "That lantern," she whispered. "My grandmother told me stories about it." Ekon's face instantly changed. He stepped backward in fear. "Throw it away," he warned. But before anyone could speak again, the lantern projected a glowing path into the dark forest across the river, and all three stared at the mysterious light leading into the unknown. Moments later, Ekon silently untied his old wooden boat. The river was rough, but the glowing lantern seemed to calm the waves wherever its light touched. As they crossed, thick fog surrounded them. Amara noticed strange symbols carved into the lantern. "What does it mean?" she asked. Ekon gripped the paddle tightly. "It leads to something buried long ago." Suddenly, something massive moved beneath the boat. The water rippled violently. The boat shook hard. Kofi nearly fell overboard before Ekon grabbed him. Two giant glowing eyes appeared beneath the river surface. Amara raised the lantern higher. The creature stopped moving. Then, slowly, it disappeared into the darkness. The boat finally reached the other side of the river. Ahead of them stood a forgotten forest where no villager had entered for decades. The lantern's blue flame pointed deeper inside. The trees creaked as cold wind passed through the forest. Every step they took felt heavier. Then whispers began echoing around them. Kofi, Amara. Their own names floated through the trees. Kofi panicked. "Something is following us." Ekon looked terrified for the first time. "Do not answer the voices." But Amara suddenly froze. In the distance, she saw a small glowing house hidden between the trees, and the lantern's flame burned brighter than ever. The wooden house looked untouched by time. Inside, dusty candles lit themselves as the three entered. Old drawings covered the walls, drawings of the lantern, and of Ekon. Kofi turned toward him. "You've been here before." Ekon lowered his head. "Years ago." Amara found a final drawing showing three people standing before a giant stone door deep underground. One figure in the drawing was crossed out in red. Then the floor beneath them suddenly cracked open. They fell into a massive underground cave. Blue crystals glowed along the walls like stars. At the center stood the giant stone door from the drawing. The lantern floated from Kofi's hand by itself. The stone door slowly began to open. Ekon stepped backward in fear. "We should leave now." But before they could move, a deep voice echoed through the chamber. "One must remain." The door fully opened, revealing blinding light, and shadows started crawling out from inside. The shadows rushed toward them. Ekon grabbed a torch and stood in front of Kofi and Amara. "I came here years ago with my brother," he admitted. "I left him behind to save myself." The cave trembled violently. The shadows formed into the shape of a man, Ekon's brother. "You promised you'd return," the shadow whispered. Tears filled Ekon's eyes. This time, he refused to run. He stepped toward the shadows, while the lantern glowed brighter. Rocks crashed from above as the river water started flooding inside. The lantern floated between Kofi, Amara, and Ekon. The voice returned, "One life for another." Ekon smiled sadly. "This is my mistake to fix." Before Kofi could stop him, Ekon grabbed the lantern and walked into the blinding light beyond the stone door. The shadows vanished instantly. The cave became silent. Then the stone door slowly closed forever. Morning sunlight covered the village as Kofi and Amara returned alone. The storm had disappeared. The river was calm. Villagers gathered around them in silence. Kofi looked down at the lantern in his hands. Its flame was no longer blue. Amara smiled softly. He finally found peace.